This is the Orca, and it's made by Saud Kruger, the civilian side of the Imperial shipyards. All of the luxury of Gudamaya, with even more smug superiority. But I couldn't exactly tell you how. Evidently I'm not allowed outside the bridge. I just get to own and fly the ship. I'm not good enough caliber to mingle. I like Saud Kruger's ships, though it does seem he went to the Bijan School of Design. To slightly misquote the man, when the world said settle and compromise, I made my own world. And I think Saud Kruger did. His ships are like nothing else on the market. Say what you will about its imagery, but the man does make an eye-catching cruise liner. Not only is Saud Kruger the sole producer of the gold skin material that lines the interior of his ships, but he has exclusive rights to the finest luxury passenger cabins in the galaxy. They can only be equipped in Saud Kruger ships. I can buy the most opulent, luxurious cabin in the galaxy, but I'm not high class enough to actually see it. How upper crust is that? That's the 0.1% right there. Completely impractical for the sake of formality. Someone British must be responsible for this. Obviously, the Orca is focused on passenger transport, as all Saud Kruger ships are. But that's not the only thing it's good for. Saud Kruger's subsidiary corporation, Astrogator, sells passenger vacation packages to far-off and exotic locations throughout the galaxy. But the exploration data its ships acquire on those journeys also brings in a tidy sum, and makes Saud Kruger one of the industry leaders in up-to-date star charts. As such, the Orca is a fairly competent exploration vessel in its own right. Fully engineered and stripped, it can manage a notable 60-plus light-years of jump range. But that would be without passenger cabins, which might defeat the purpose a bit. In fact, I can imagine few things more terrifying than being alone on an empty luxury cruise ship thousands of light-years from any form of civilization. Do you want to go ship in space? Because that's how you get a ghost ship in space. That said, if I could wander the decks of this ship and look out its massive glass canopy as it soared along, I'm not sure I'd ever fly anything else. But, as it is, locked in a cockpit clearly designed by Zorgan Peterson, which is to say an extraordinarily bland cockpit, all I can do is admire the exterior, and have people tell me how beautiful it is from behind the sealed door. This, as you might imagine, is incredibly frustrating. Luckily, the Orca is also very good at one other thing, which allows its pilot to take out these kind of frustrations on an outside world. This ship was clearly not intentionally built for combat. You only really need to look at it to know that. Its hardpoints are terribly placed, its armor and shields are mediocre, and if that canopy was actually glass, it would be a huge incentive to stay far away from a fight. But it's not. So I can do this. Of course, the Orca is not the only ship that can do this. Creating a hull tank to ram into things is nothing new. But thankfully, the Orca is one of those ships that is fantastically fun to misuse. With its engines tuned, the Orca is exceptionally maneuverable, which makes loading it up with hull reinforcements and slamming into things really more fun than it has any right to be. It's like using a MacBook to get rid of a spider. It's oddly therapeutic. A link to Rensler's guide for setting up your Orca to do this is linked below. There are some issues. The pilot seat is a little too left of center for my tastes. It has heat issues, a small power plant, bad hardpoint placement, and it's a massive target if you do decide to start a fight. But it is, well, majestic. It really does handle quite well, and it actually is a beautiful ship. It also seems to be the most viable exploration ship out of the entire Saud Kruger catalog, as long as you don't need a ship launch fighter. At the end of the day though, the Orca is not a particularly good ship. It's not a bad ship either, but it is meant for a very specific type of commander. A commander who already has more money than he knows what to do with, obviously. Probably not one who wants to roleplay a cruise ship captain, because why would you not take the beluga out instead? It might be someone who wants to try exploring in something a little more luxurious and less cramped than the Diamondback Explorer. But honestly, I think it's probably going to be the one who values the Orca's maneuverability and speed and ability to smack into things very, very hard. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. One more thing. Ship loadouts, bloopers, and music tracks I've used here are all available over on the Patreon page. I do hope you guys like it when you check it out, and if you'd like to support the channel, then there's some other bonus stuff you can get in there too. Thank you so much for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week.